yeah, it's getting tough, but triple digit silver really isn't that crazy anymore. Keith Neumeyer was the first one to talk about it.
Yeah.
And when you look at the fundamentals behind it, it's not that outlandish to say that. So it's important to remember that even with the sharp correction we saw, silver is still up between 65 and 70% this year. And I mean, I don't know how many assets rank higher than that. But when you have any asset that appreciates in a parabolic manner 40% in 2 months, a correction is inevitable. This is what overbought is. And, you know, it shouldn't come as a surprise to people. And I think that that certainly is something that's hard to rationalize for us gold and silver bugs because we've waited so long and feel that, you know, that the market should have done this a long time ago, gotten to these levels. But suffice it to say, this is a very high stakes game where some of the biggest institutions on the planet got caught very much offside and were, you know, actually looking at what could ultimately be a existential threat to their survival. And so they did an awful lot to slow down the rise. But here we are again, back up over $1 plus and back up over 50. And maybe it's because silver is now a critical mineral. We've been talking about that for a long time now. Now it's official. Maybe it's the realization that it's irreplaceable, that it's the most conductive element known to science, the lifeblood of energy and data and power itself. Who knows? But the bottom line is that with the U.S. government calling it a strategic mineral, they've put a floor under the price, and they will, I think, start to purchase it. At the same time, you have the Chinese Ministry of Commerce. Their name is, the acronym is MOFCOM, Chinese Ministry of Commerce, has issued new rules regarding the state-traded exports of a few different commodities, including silver. So they are doing the same thing. They aim to step up, if you will, the protection of resources, and that means curtailing exports in 2026. And look, when you realize that the largest refiner of silver in the world, China, is restricting exports and has announced starting in 2026, all silver exports will require individual government licenses from Beijing. To me, this move classifies silver as a resource of national interest, not just to the United States, but signaling a strategic shift towards state-managed supply, including places like China. It's a big deal. It's a very, very big deal. And I think the bottom line is silver is being redefined from an industrial metal into a geopolitical resource or into a strategic element, not just in the United States, but all over the place. The cost of maintaining an inventory is becoming exponentially more expensive. And with that, you have insurance and shipping and all of the things involved. It's expensive. It's much more expensive than it was to hedge a position at higher levels, you know, takes away some of that risk. But most of the smaller coin companies or you know, local coin shops don't hedge their exposure. So, you know, it's a big deal. You have a large inventory of silver, and the volatility that we've seen where it can fall, you know, 15-20% in a short period of time. That's enough to really scare a lot of these coin shops out of business. I think it's an interesting thought experiment, but my guess is the higher the price of metals go. I mean, look at gold. A tube of gold eagles now is well north of $80,000. And so how much gold can you really have as a local coin shop, not only from a standpoint of maintaining an inventory, you better have millions of dollars to use, but insurance and shipping and all of that stuff, it's becoming a lot harder. When gold was $1,000 an ounce, I remember my father-in-law sending me a text message, congratulations, so gold's finally over $1,000. Well, back then, it wasn't too long ago, you know, a tube of gold eagles is just over 20,000. It's gone up 4 times, and that's just one tube. So you want to have what, 500 ounces of gold in stock as a local coin shop? I mean, how much money do you have and then you add silver and platinum and the cost of insurance and whatnot. It's a tough deal. I think the higher it goes, the fewer the choices. If I had to guess, you'll find it's real. I mean, we probably do as much shipping as anyone in the United States on a, that's not a fair statement. Our shipping with Federal Express is as robust as it can be without being someone like Amazon. And so we get all of the discounts that you would get and have all of the insurance that you could get. And, we still don't put more than $150,000 of product in a particular package. You try to ship it by registered mail, the most they'll give you is 50,000. So if you can only do 50,000 by registered mail, you're not even doing a tube of Gold Eagles. And, that's challenging. The costs are getting more expensive. You look at companies like FedEx, their costs are going up. It's tough. So prices will go up. Insurance will go up. It's real for sure. So again, this further would, I think, push towards consolidation into the larger companies who have the wherewithal to do it. That's not great for the consumer, but it's just the reality of the cost of doing business, and it's increasing dramatically. If it continues down this path, yeah, it would be very interesting if you saw triple-digit silver, where you're talking $50,000 for a monster box. Yeah, it's getting tough, but triple-digit silver really isn't that crazy anymore. Keith Neumeyer was the first one to talk about it, and when you look at the fundamentals behind it, it's not that outlandish to say that. Junk silver is not sexy. It's not. It's dimes, quarters, and half dollars minted prior to 65. But where I say it's the best value, if you can do anything at or near spot, which junk silver is, or maybe a little over, but not much, you're buying something that is the best value with no opportunity costs, with no added premium attached. And you put that in reference or measure it against where it's been in the past. During the pandemic, because of its utility and its divisibility, the premiums were second only to American Eagles. And the U.S. Mint has been the model of inefficiency for a long time. And, I asked people to listen to Bixweir's interview with Jack, what's Jack's last name? I forgot Jack's last name. It'll come to me in a moment. But Jack Sermon developed the Silver Eagle program at the U.S. Mint, and Bix did a 3-part interview with him a couple of years ago. I remember almost falling off my chair, where he said he was approached by, at the time, his boss, which would have been the Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, who told him to make as few Silver Eagles as possible without creating a global backlash. I mean, he actually said that. That the primary distributors came to him with far more demand than they could fill. Like they wanted another 36 million and they gave him 12. And he said it really bothered him. So, there's a fine line between conspiracy and reality with the U.S. Mint. I would prefer Silver Eagles all day long, with the, many of these states looking at silver coins made in the U.S. as legal tender. But the premiums on Silver Eagles, on gold buffaloes, are crazy right now, and moving in that direction again. The fact that junk silver hasn't followed it the way that it did during the pandemic is testament to the fact that things aren't breaking apart for everyone to notice. This is just those who follow the U.S. Mint and their lack of capacity. But if I were going to say what is normally, I would say bars, but due to the threats all along this year of tariffs, the bar industry, or the products that are associated with silver bars, they're coming largely from Switzerland, and with Pam Swiss and Valcambi and others, they weren't imported very much. And so the premiums are higher on them than I like. Maybe 1 ounce rounds, those come from domestic refiners here, would be the next best. Or maybe even there are some coins like the 2026 Silver Kangaroo that we have in stock, or some of the other coins that are not American Eagles but are of the other 6 major mints, the Krugerrands, the Britannias, the Philharmonics. They're right there. And because the bar market is inflated, I skip it. So it would either be junk silver, 1 ounce rounds, or coins from probably not even the maple leaf, which is getting inflated again. It would be South Africa, Australia, UK. To me, would probably be the three that would stick out as being a good value right now.